Listen, the internet has been on absolute fire ever since Clarissa Shields popped up casually showing off a massive engagement ring, like she just won the Super Bowl, the NBA Finals, and the World Heavyweight Championship all in one night. I'm talking about a ring so big it had people squinting at their phones, zooming in and immediately assuming that Papoose had officially gotten down on one knee, pulled out a rock capable of blinding somebody in direct sunlight, and asked Clarissa to lock it down for life. And the way she presented it? Calm, confident, almost celebratory, like, yeah, this is happening, get into it. And just like that, the timeline lost its mind. Because this wasn't just about a ring, this was about who the ring was allegedly from, when it supposedly happened, and why none of it seemed to add up the more people started asking questions. So before we even get into the mess, the theories, the jokes, and the dragging, let's just say this right now. Nobody expected the twist that came next. Nobody. So come vibe with me real quick, because this situation is layered, it's messy, and it somehow managed to pull in Clarissa Shields, Papoose, Remy Ma, Cameron, internet detectives, and half of social media all at the same time. Clarissa jumps online, talking casually, eating food, vibing, showing her day like everything is normal. She's talking about being a foodie, ordering duck fried rice because she's in the UK, grabbing jerk wings from a Jamaican spot, just living life. But then, there it is, that ring. Big, shiny, sitting comfortably on her finger like it belonged there. And the way she talked, dropping little hints about being someone's wife, people asking her about weddings, kids, save the date energy, all of that. Now, she didn't explicitly say, I'm engaged to Papoose, but she didn't have to. The implication was loud. And once the internet connects dots, especially when it comes to celebrity relationships, it's over. Folks immediately assumed Papoose finally made it official. But see, that's where the confusion kicked in. Because while some people were congratulating her, others were like, hold on, wait a minute. And that's when the comments shifted from celebration to investigation. The hip-hop streets started buzzing almost immediately. People weren't just confused, they were genuinely stunned. The biggest question being asked over and over again was simple but devastating. How are you engaged to a man who is still legally married? That one question cracked the entire situation wide open. The comment section turned into a full-blown block party with everybody talking at once, cracking jokes, dragging, and side-eyeing the entire scenario. One person said, "When's your wedding? When's his divorce?" Another joked that Clarissa must be marrying Remy Ma too, since legally that ring still belonged in Remy territory. Others were like, engaged to a married man with a cluster ring? Stop playing. But beyond the jokes, there was real concern. People were asking if Clarissa truly understood the situation she might be stepping into, because whether folks like it or not, Papoose's marital status isn't speculation, it's public record. And once people remembered how messy the Remy Ma and Papoose situation already was, from cheating allegations to subliminal shots to half-spilled tea, the timeline felt like Clarissa had walked directly into a storm with no umbrella and no warning. Now, here's where the opinions split down the middle. Some fans genuinely believed Clarissa didn't do anything wrong. They said she's always been bold, confident, and unapologetic. And if she's claiming Papoose is her man, then clearly she's not scared of anybody trying to check her or correct her. But others felt very differently. They believed Clarissa knew exactly what she was doing, that this wasn't accidental, innocent, or misunderstood, that she posted that ring knowing it would spark conversation, knowing the internet would react, and knowing that the mess surrounding Papoose and Remy Ma would immediately resurface. And let's be honest, if that was the goal, it worked. Because once that post went viral, the warnings came pouring in. People were saying, she better be careful because Remy Ma is not the type to play around when it comes to her name, her man, or her business. And whether you like Remy or not, that's not a reputation people ignore. And just like clockwork, the internet pulled out the receipts. People remembered exactly what Remy Ma said after her breakup with Papoose. She didn't mince words, she didn't soften it. She straight up said that Clarissa Shields was a come-up for him. And at the time, people were shocked that she said it out loud, but she stood on it. Not only that, but Remy later claimed that Papoose had manipulative and controlling tendencies. She said once she leveled up and found a man who treated her right without needing her money or her status, Papoose couldn't handle it. According to her, he was bitter, insecure, and pressed that she no longer needed to carry him financially or emotionally. Those comments resurfacing completely shifted the narrative. Suddenly, this wasn't just about a ring. It was about power, money, timing, and intention. Because here's the part that really had people talking. Clarissa had just secured a massive deal, an $8 million contract, including a multi-million-dollar signing bonus. Life-changing money, career-defining success. She's one of the most accomplished female boxers in history, undefeated, multiple weight classes, world championships, Olympic golds, the whole resume. And then suddenly, an engagement? People started side-eyeing the timing heavy. Commenters said it felt way too convenient, like Papoose saw the bag get bigger and decided it was time to lock something down. Some folks went as far as saying Clarissa moved recklessly and didn't protect herself properly. Others flat out said she got played. Whether that's fair or not, the streets were talking and everyone had a theory. Now let's talk about the ring itself, because wow, the internet did not show mercy. Fans expected something elegant, a solitaire, something classic, something feminine. Instead, people said the ring looked like a Super Bowl championship ring, an NFL trophy, a class alumni ring, or something you'd get out of a Cracker Jack box if you were unlucky. People were like, Clarissa Shields, as your fan, we do not do cluster engagement rings. Others said, baby, you are the top female boxer in the world. You don't deserve a cluster. The jokes were brutal and honestly relentless. But some people pushed back and said if she likes the ring, why does anybody else care? And that's a valid point, but the internet has never been known for stopping at logic. Once the jokes start, there's no off switch. Just when the internet thought it had the story figured out, Clarissa popped back online and dropped a bomb. She said the video was 3 years old, not new, not recent, not an engagement. She flat out said she is not engaged, Papoose did not propose, and people ran with assumptions. She even called folks goofies for believing it. And when she said that, the internet completely lost it. Now people felt played, embarrassed, fooled. They said she recycled old footage on purpose to stir drama and get attention, especially with all the noise surrounding Papoose and Remy Ma. Internet detectives started pulling screenshots, comparing nails, outfits, backgrounds, and timestamps like they were putting together a Netflix documentary. Some said she was trolling for fun, others said she just wanted to stay in the spotlight. Either way, the damage was done. And just when you thought it couldn't get messier, Cameron entered the conversation. Cameron went on record calling Clarissa a straight-up stalker, claiming she pressed him because he didn't acknowledge her as the most watched female boxer in history. He said she wouldn't let it go, kept tagging him, DMing him, and escalating things when he didn't give her the validation she wanted. That accusation alone sent social media into another frenzy. People started replaying interviews, pulling clips, and debating whether Clarissa was being misunderstood or genuinely doing too much. However, now let me tell you, Clarissa's approach in her post made it feel both casual and celebratory at the same time. She was eating, joking, and just living her best life. She made it very clear that she's a foodie, talking about duck fried rice because she was in the UK, adding in jerk wings from a Jamaican spot, promising she'd give the names later. It all seemed very normal and relatable at first glance. But then she brought the ring into the conversation, casually mentioning being somebody's wife, hinting at the wedding, and talking about kids. She even told followers to go check out her Instagram for pictures of the outfit she was wearing, fully leaning into the moment. And that's when the timeline collectively said, "Oh, okay, so this is happening." But as quickly as people began celebrating, the tone shifted dramatically, because the moment everyone realized who the ring was allegedly from, questions started flying immediately. And the most obvious one,
Papoose is still legally married. Now, that's not speculation, that's public knowledge. And people didn't just whisper or question it, the comments exploded. One person joked, "Engaged to a married man with a cluster ring, laughing my ass off." Another said, "When's your wedding? When's his divorce?" And someone else even went as far as joking, "You must be marrying Remy too, because legally that ring still belongs in Remy's territory." Suddenly, what started as a celebratory moment turned into a mix of confusion, concern, and pure internet chaos. The timeline turned into a live investigation, with people trying to piece together timelines, legal situations, and the history between Papoose and Remy Ma. People weren't just confused, they were alarmed, with some asking if Clarissa even realized the full scope of what she was stepping into. Others started pointing out that Papoose had a messy history, and this engagement, or alleged engagement, could potentially reignite old controversies. Social media quickly transformed into a courtroom, with everyone offering theories, opinions, and sometimes brutally honest critiques. And of course, once the jokes started, they didn't stop.
And here's where it gets even messier. People started bringing up Remy Ma's old comments after her breakup with Papoose. Remember, she didn't hold back. She publicly said that Clarissa Shields was just a come-up for him, and she wasn't shy about it. She doubled down later, describing Papoose as manipulative and controlling. According to Remy, once she moved on and found a man who treated her well without needing her money or status, Papoose couldn't handle it. He was salty, bitter, and upset that she no longer needed him to maintain her lifestyle. She even detailed the stability of her new partner, describing someone with a pension plan, a 401k, excellent credit, and genuine consistency, which made Papoose's previous behavior look even worse in contrast. This resurfacing of Remy Ma's statements completely shifted the conversation online. It painted a very different picture of Papoose and created a narrative that made the supposed engagement feel risky at best and reckless at worst. Social media users were quick to side with the timeline detectives, dissecting the details and questioning whether Clarissa truly understood what she was stepping into. Many comments reflected concern over her trust, her timing, and whether she was being used. Others, however, leaned into the entertainment value, joking about the audacity, the ring, and the chaotic mix of relationships involved. And of course, the internet never misses a chance to speculate or exaggerate for the sake of drama. Then came the timing. Let's break it down. Clarissa Shields had just signed a massive $8 million two-year contract, including a $3 million signing bonus. That's before stepping into the ring even once. That's life-changing, career-defining money. She's an Olympic gold medalist, undefeated, multiple weight class world champion, and arguably the top female boxer on the planet. And suddenly, just days after this massive contract, an engagement post pops up. Naturally, people were skeptical. Some said she was being reckless for saying yes so quickly, while others suggested Papoose might be trying to secure a foothold now that her financial status had skyrocketed. The internet immediately started connecting dots, and suddenly it wasn't just a ring, it was a strategic move in some people's eyes. Social media commenters began dissecting her every action, every word, every smile. Some called it naive, others called it foolish, and others outright said she was being played. The timing and circumstances, paired with the history of Papoose and Remy Ma, made this an incredibly messy situation, and the internet was not about to let it slide quietly. And then there was the ring itself. Y'all, the ring became the main character of this story. People went hard online. Fans said it looked like a Super Bowl championship ring, an NBA Finals ring, or even a Cracker Jack toy. Words like cluster and gumball machine were thrown around endlessly. People were like, "Clarissa Shields, we don't do cluster engagement rings, girl, come on." And some even went further, saying that for someone of her status, an undefeated world champion, she deserved something elegant, a classic solitaire. Some critics were harsher than others, joking that the ring was so over the top it looked like a class action lawsuit waiting to happen. Others, however, stepped back and said, if she likes it, why does it matter? And while that's a fair point, the internet thrives on drama, and for many, this was not just a ring, it was symbolism. It represented trust, intention, timing, and credibility, and so naturally, the jokes didn't stop. But just when people thought it couldn't get any crazier, the internet detectives arrived. They began analyzing the clip Clarissa posted, checking her nails, the background, the lighting, and all kinds of details. And according to them, the video wasn't even recent. They claimed it was actually from 3 years ago, when Clarissa was allegedly engaged to someone else entirely. Clarissa eventually confirmed it, calling people goofies and clarifying that she was not engaged, that Papoose hadn't proposed, and that people ran with assumptions simply because they wanted drama. Once she clarified, people felt played, embarrassed, or fooled. Some thought she was trolling for attention, while others said she was just keeping herself in the spotlight amid all the Papoose-Remy Ma drama. Either way, the internet erupted again. If you thought it ended there, think again. Cameron's involvement added another layer of chaos. About a week and a half earlier, Cameron had accused Clarissa of being a stalker after she pressed him for not acknowledging her as the most-watched female boxer in history. According to him, it started with him reading cue cards for an event that stated Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano was the most-watched women's fight ever. Clarissa apparently took offense, began DMing him, tagging him, and escalating things. Cam claimed that what started as playful back and forth eventually became uncomfortable, and when he finally spoke publicly about it, it added yet another layer to an already complicated online narrative. The internet jumped on this like fuel to the fire. Suddenly, you had Clarissa allegedly trolling, Papoose's marital situation, Remy Ma's history, and Cameron's accusations, all colliding at once. And people on social media, they were absolutely loving the chaos.
So, when you step back and look at the entire situation, here's what happened. Clarissa Shields posts a ring, the internet assumes Papoose proposed, fans remember he's still married, Remy Ma's comments resurface, the ring gets roasted, the video turns out to be old footage, Cameron calls her a stalker, and the drama continues to snowball. All of this happened in the span of a few days. And whether Clarissa was trolling, seeking attention, or just careless, one thing is clear: the internet has officially gone wild over this. This is one of those stories where timing, history, and presentation matter more than the surface details. A ring isn't just a ring in 2025. It's a narrative device, a statement, a potential headline. And for someone like Clarissa Shields, whose life and career are already highly publicized, every action is under scrutiny. According to Cam, things went from playful to uncomfortable, and once he said that out loud, it added another layer to an already chaotic storyline. So let's really look at what happened here. Clarissa Shields posts a ring that looks like an engagement. The internet assumes Papoose proposed. Fans remember he's still married. Remy Ma's old comments resurface. The ring gets dragged. Clarissa says the video was old. People feel played. Cameron calls her a stalker, and the drama continues to snowball. All of this happened in the span of a few days. And whether Clarissa was trolling, seeking attention, or just careless, one thing is clear: this situation spiraled way beyond what anyone expected. And instead of clearing things up immediately, the delays and mixed signals only fueled the chaos. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think Clarissa Shields knew exactly what she was doing when she posted that ring? Do you believe Remy Ma when she says Papoose was using her and possibly doing the same thing again? And was the internet doing way too much over that ring, or was the skepticism justified? Drop your thoughts in the comments because this situation is still unfolding. And while you're down there, make sure you like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and show some love. I'll catch you in the next one.